everyone. Today we're going to focus on abdominal poses. So a couple days ago I did a core group section, which is focusing on all the core muscles in the trunk of the body. Then today, to focus on the abdominal poses, it's focusing just on the abdominal muscles, more specifically the transverse abdominis, the under layer of abdominal muscles, under the rectus abdominis. So focusing on the deeper layer of abdominal muscles is often more challenging. We often want to just instantly use the whole core because it's easier, but really trying to isolate those abdominal muscles in the poses we're doing today. Again, doing the 3 levels of poses, the mild, medium, and more intense pose. So the first pose we'll do is boat pose, Navasana. So this pose, if you're doing it using the whole core, it often results in this lean back, which makes it much easier to lift the legs up. So to make it more of an abdominal pose, you want to be able to stay more forward. So it's the abdominal muscles working to start to lift the legs up. And you keep pulling forward and up with the chest. And it's going to make it much harder to keep the legs lifted. You can always keep hands behind the knees, even toes on the mat. And just focusing that you're not rocking back towards the tailbone, back of the sit bones. Staying on the center of the sit bones, staying lifted in the chest as you hold for 5 breaths, right? It's going to make it much more challenging to straighten the legs if you're not there with the support of the whole core. So trying to stay in the abdomen, even relaxing the fronts of the thighs as you hold this pose for 5 breaths. Then after Navasana, that would be that medium or that mild level. You can do lots of Navasana variations with the legs, with the arms. But again, just finding the lift from the spine and the lift coming from the abdomen rather than the whole core. Trying to play around with where you're feeling it. So next pose, that medium level pose, would be Jattarasana. Jattara is the abdomen, so abdominal pose. Right? So here to feel the abdomen, sometimes it's easy just to activate the rectus abdominis here, those six pack muscles. But you're trying to, again, engage that transverse abdominis, the lower layer of abdominal muscles, which you can really feel by activating the space a couple inches lower than your navel and trying to expand that space out, trying to seal the whole lower back to the mat. So rather than this being like a crunch where you're crunching those 6-pack muscles, you're actually trying to expand the abdomen, expand the lower back. So you're keeping from bunching as you start to lift up. You're trying to lift or drop in and out through that lower abdomen. Keep the shoulders and neck relaxed as you keep your whole lower back sealed into the mat. And you can either do this with the feet on the mat with the knees bent like I am now, or keeping the lower back down. You can start to stretch the legs long with the heels just to hover above the mat. And again, notice if you're bulging, you want to think about going down and out with the lower abdomen. And again, hold for 5 breaths. Whether legs are straight or knees are bent. Trying to feel the lower abdomen working. The deeper abdominal muscles working. And then the third option for the abdominal group is that more intense option where you're actually putting the weight on the abdomen to feel the abdominal muscles engage that way. So this could be done in some form of Mayurasana, peacock pose. And so the idea is now the elbows are putting pressure on the abdomen. So it would look kind of like this. You kind of have to bunch around and under the chest. Draw the elbows towards one another. And you want to either have the elbows, right, you have the 6-pack muscles, those abdominal muscles. You either need the elbows to the inside of them, right next to each other, or to the outside, right? If they're directly on those 6-pack, the rectus abdominis, you're going to feel it kind of moving around. So either outer, which is what I find easier, or bringing those elbows to the inside of those abdominal muscles. And there's different hand positions that change the pose. I like to spin. For me, I find it easier to have fingers facing the knees. You could also do fingers facing out, which is swan pose. But coming into peacock pose, Mayurasana, and again, loop around the chest, right? So your option might be just staying here, keeping the knees down and feeling the weight on the hands, on the elbows. And that's option one, playing with Mayurasana peacock pose. Eventually, it is an arm balance. So if this feels okay, maybe you bring the forehead down and play with starting to lift the legs up. Right, that's option two, with the forehead still down. Then option three is trying to get the forehead off as well, so the weight is all on the abdomen. Knees up, and then maybe head up. Definitely one I'm still working on. But eventually, you're trying to move from those bent knees, like the Baddha Konasana legs, towards straight legs. Okay. So playing with those three levels, playing with finding the abdominal muscles today. Let me know if you have any questions. Be well.